Solana Breakpoint just ended earlier this week. It was a 4-day-long conference hosted by Solana. This was a major headline event with some of the most powerful people in crypto and venture capital in attendance. Interestingly enough, Solana and Helium share very, and by very I mean almost identical, funding partners. We will cover some of these startling similarities in today's video. Amir Haliim, Helium CEO and founder, was one of the keynote speakers, along with some of the faces of A16Z, Alameda Research, and Multicoin Capital, all of which are very early investors of Solana, and you guessed it, Helium. This event turned out to be a great success for Solana, but surprisingly enough, or unsurprisingly enough, a great success for Helium as well. There were multiple shoutouts and testaments to Helium at the event, which were highlighted on social media. One can only imagine what sort of discussions were going on in private. Let's take a look at some of the details in today's video. Hello everybody and welcome back to another video here on the Crypto Compound channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Please make sure to destroy that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and also please hit that subscribe and notification bell if you have not already. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the very interesting and very intimate relationship between Solana and Helium. This relationship was recently highlighted at the Solana Breakpoint conference that was held between November 7th and November 10th of this week. As I mentioned, this event was a huge success, of course, for Solana, but it seems like the real winner here might have actually been Helium. Before we jump into all the different notable mentions that we've seen across social media, we're going to take a look at the price reaction over the course of this conference. As you can see here, I highlighted the days between November 7th and closing of the day November 10th. Between that period, we saw the biggest candle Helium has ever seen, the one that wicked all the way north to $60. And then of course we saw some retracement. We saw two more huge 4-hour candles, another retracement to a higher low, and then another huge 4-hour candle all the way back up to this resistance here. And now of course here we are approaching this resistance line again after another retracement back to this trend line. And now as you can see, this structure that is forming, some people would call it a bull flag, which is known as being a continuation structure in either an uptrend or a downtrend. Of course, in this case, we haven't made a lower low in maybe 3 months. So that we're certainly in an uptrend, and this bull flag would be indicative of a continuation pattern for said bull trend. However, I look at it more as an ascending triangle here, which is also a very positive and very strong continuation pattern in a lot of cases. It's going to be very interesting to see over the next few trading sessions to see how which might happen in the next, honestly, throughout the recording of this video, but it's going to be very interesting to see how the price reacts to this price level here, right at $52. We have seen traders settle up just below this level over the past two spikes here on the chart. If we do break above this resistance here, I will absolutely expect a retest of this resistance line as support to confirm the uptrend is continuing. Will be very interesting to see. I'll make a separate video entirely that outlines what I'm seeing on the charts, where I think we might be headed. So stay tuned for that. So back to Solana Breakpoint, as you can see, November 7th to 10th, 2021, recently ended earlier this week. If you went to this website at all throughout the conference, there was a live stream of all the speakers, all the events. It was super, super interesting. Of course, here it was sold out, very expensive to attend. Of course, with all of the very high profile people, I'm sure that they were able to sell these, but it's just very interesting to see that. It shows the sort of demand that is out there for events like this. Here are some of the featured sponsors, very interesting, and of course the speakers down here, which there are some people that you will probably be rather familiar with here. If we scroll down just a little bit, we can see Amir Haliim, CEO and founder of Helium, right here. Very interesting. If we do a quick Helium lookup on this page, we'll see that there is another person from Helium. I believe Chris Bruce here is the director of the Helium Foundation. I believe he used to be a big part of Helium back in the day, growing it really from the inception. I don't think he's working there any longer, but of course, he does appear to be the director of the Helium Foundation. So right off the bat, that's rather interesting, especially considering Amir is listed really close to the top. I mean, I wouldn't take that with much. I wouldn't hold much weight to that, but it's obviously in some sort of an order here. As you can see, the CEO and founder of Solana Labs and COO and co-founder of Solana Labs are the first two. We have Amir Helium right here. Now, I'm going to go over here to, this is an article that we highlighted a few months ago, back when it was released in September. A16Z leads $111 million token sale for Helium's HNT. If we scroll down a little bit, it highlights the major people in that funding round. Of course, it was A16Z, Rabbit Capital, 10T Holdings, Alameda Research, and Multicoin Capital also invested. Now, if we take a look back here at the speakers, let's take a look at A16Z. And we can see the former CTO of Coinbase and general partner at A16Z is also here on the first row of speakers here. And we also have Ali Yahya, general partner, A16Z. Of course, I apologize if I'm not pronouncing any of these exactly correctly. Please forgive me. Now let's take a look at Alameda. We seem to have the CEO, Sam Bankman-Fried. The CEO of Alameda Research was also a notable speaker here at the conference. And finally, let's see Multicoin. I believe they had the most people in attendance here. Yes, Kyle Samani and Tushar Jain, both managing partners at Multicoin Capital. Also very outspoken supporters of the Helium network on Twitter, as you can imagine. We also, not only do we have them, we also have General Counsel Gregory Zephelis of Multicoin Capital. So as you can see, this speaker list is really riddled with people with connections to, who work for, who have founded Helium. Very, very interesting stuff from there. And of course, on social media, there was a lot of notable mentions of Helium, even from people that were actually in attendance at Solana at the time. So let's take a look at that now. Of course, if we look here, Amir Helium made a comment, thanks to our friends at Solana for the love. It seems as though Hotspotty had some sort of event or talking point here at the conference, and they made a post here shouting out the Solana conference and Solana, thanking them for the opportunity. And Amir says, thanks to our friends at Solana for the love. Very cool to see how the dots are connected here on Twitter. Now, if we go, there's another Amir Helium tweet. This one probably more interesting, where he just says, my man. And this is somebody posting a snippet of one of the live events or one of the speakers at one of the events. And he basically, the quote, you can come here, I'll put a link below to this tweet. You can come here and look. And he actually has a quote in here where he says, we should all have Helium nodes. So very, very interesting to see such blatant support for Helium at the conference. I think that's very telling of someone on a stage like this to say something like that. There's clear conviction there. There's clear support there, which is really awesome. And of course, Amir Helium is fully supportive of something like that. Then we finally, Chris Bruce here, who we saw was one of the speakers at the conference, who was a director of the Helium Foundation. It seems as though they had some sort of contest to give away a minted Goldspot miner. Congrats to the Goldspot Helium minted miner. Chris Bruce's post here clearly highlights that there was some sort of raffle or giveaway for a Helium minted Goldspot miner. It's very interesting to see this. They are clearly at the conference here. They have their badges on. So there's clearly a lot of noise happening at this Solana conference with regard to Helium. You can only imagine what they're talking about off stage or in meetings or at dinner or things like that. So super, super interesting. And like I mentioned earlier, if we look at this chart here, this is highlighting the three or 4 days in which this conference was taking place, from the 7th to the 10th. I mean, there is no opportunity to buy at any lower lows. There are only higher lows happening here. The buyers step in at very strategic points here to buy in directly at this support line and drive it all the way to this resistance line. That is really just something worth noting. And of course, we do have this first gigantic green candle, which throttled us to 60. That was happening on the first day of this Solana event. So really, really interesting. Let me know what you guys think about this. Of course, people in the space talk about different projects and stuff, but it's so interesting to see the correlation between this event, the highlights on social media, and this price chart here. So guys, let me know what you think. stay tuned for a video highlighting this structure here. Of course, it looks like we are about to touch this line any minute now, so stay tuned for that. But again, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Please like and subscribe if you have not already. Leave your comments or questions below. But just like that, this video is over, and I will see you next time.